There are some examples on the screen. So as we had examples previously, we have a few examples here. I would request a volunteer to quickly unmute and read the first example, inappropriate and appropriate, and then proceed with the second example.
The appropriate way will be, I apologize for the delay in sending the proposal. Collecting all the details took more than the expected time. The proposal is ready for your review now. PFA, please find the attached.
Hmm. Okay, so we see that it's important to mention the error or mistake that we have made. What are you sorry for? What is the corrective action? And what is the next step for the other person to know? All of that will be more meaningful rather than just saying sorry, because again, it's not leading to any conclusion. Then what? If you're sorry, then now what? So that's more important to think, and that's more important to include in your communication, that you're thinking on these lines. So then that deviates the other person's attention also from the fault to the solution, and that's called a problem solving way of thinking and communicating. Let's proceed. Please read the next part.
Yeah. The inappropriate way will be for always encourage the person and have a forgiving attitude when you receive an apology. Fine should be an inappropriate way. The appropriate way will be, it's all right. I will be happy if you can ensure it doesn't happen again. Let me know if you need any support.
We shouldn't behave like the example we had earlier of Mr. Mishra, where the other person is expressing and your response is just limited to okay or fine. Sometimes people don't feel good when you do not respond appropriately, and so to sound interested in the other person and to sound that you are understanding what they are saying, it's important to speak a little more detail dealing with complaints. Okay, so listen to the person making the complaint actively. Inform the person if you are not the right person to resolve the issue. Guide the person to the appropriate authority. We kind of discussed this. Sounding unaware or irresponsible will make the person lose trust. So, trust is very important, and it is one of your leadership principles also, which is called earn trust. Right? In the 10 C's, we understood credibility, to earn the credibility of the customer. So, all in all, it's one and the same thing. Whether you say it's a leadership principle, whether you say it's a communication principle, whether you say it's a customer service principle, it is the same. You want to earn the trust of your customer, your audience, or whosoever you are communicating with. So, in order to earn their trust, you have to sound aware of the situation. If you sound unaware, for instance, a customer reaches out to you and you say, I don't know, or I can't help, or I can't do anything about it, they lose trust in payroll. They lose trust in the company, because they are like, then who knows? So we have to think of what can we do when we actually are not the right people, or we are also unaware of a situation. We should be judicious in how do you want to convey that to them, and how can you still be able to give some direction to them, because otherwise there's a high chance of losing credibility or trust there. Next, ensure that you escalate the complaint to your supervisor if you receive it repeatedly or cannot resolve the issue. um, to this one, I would like to give you an example. I don't know if it's in the Andon Cord video or was it some other video by Jeff Bezos. If you see it's a repeated mistake, you must notice it, and you must think about, coming up with a process, or maybe sharing your views with other people, that this is something that you see happening again and again. Looks like there is a process flaw. There is an opportunity to do something, maybe invent and simplify. Some any leadership principle will actually help you to go ahead in that direction and think on fixing the issue. If it's repeatedly happening, certainly there is something which we are missing on, which probably we have not yet worked on, and it's an opportunity that now we can. So this was discussed in one of the videos, where he did point out an example as of a lady who worked, I think, in in the grievance department, and she knew exactly what happens at the customer's end. So once she shares this with her colleague, that she was on call with the customer, and then she hung up the call and she told her colleague that I knew it, this is gonna happen. So the colleague asked what. So she said, yeah, this happens, I have been here for so many years and I see this every time this table is delivered, the customers ask for a refund and they return this product every time. So the colleague gets curious to know that why. Why do you think they do that? Is there a problem in the manufacturing? So she said, no, the table is good. The problem is always the same. They always say that the surface of the table got scratched when they received it. So it is a problem with the packaging, not manufacturing. So she has so great knowledge. And what is she doing with that knowledge? Nothing. She has kept it to herself. If she actually escalated this to the right person, this could have been they could have taken a corrective measure. Maybe the packaging team could have worked on it, that okay, this is a primary reason, it's a good manufactured product, but the packaging is bad, and on the surface they are not taking care of it. Every time they deliver it, it gets scratched for some or the other reason during handling the product. And this was such great insight that she had, and it is credible because it's based on customer feedback. She knows that it is customers who are saying it, and if two customers are saying the same thing, 10 of them are saying the same thing, it's a major thing, and can be worked upon. But what stops her from escalating it? The only I think the only fact that she never even thought it's important or it's her job. Maybe that is what happens with most of the people. We do not think big. Okay, that's another leadership principle at Amazon. And even otherwise, thinking big means thinking beyond of what you're doing and how is it relatable with what others are doing, how is it relatable with the overall company mission or your overall department mission. We are all working toward a common goal. If we understand that relatability, we will be able to contribute toward the common goal, not just our own personal goals. So maybe it is not my job. If I am somebody in the grievance department, my job is only to hear the customer out and give them the refund. That's it. I am not in manufacturing, I'm not in packaging. That's not my job to correct it. That's one way of looking at it. But that's a narrow mindset, because then I am not thinking about the bigger goals of the company overall and how I can be a contributor to that. But if I only think big and look at it from an overview, it's a great opportunity to collaborate with other people, give them the right information in the right time, and come up with great ideas. So that is what dealing with complaints teaches you. When you are dealing with a complaint, it is not that you have to just deal with the complaint and give the possible solution at that time. It is also an opportunity to think how we can resolve this complaint for future, how we can think of something that we can reduce these types of complaints. If someone thinks like that, that's a problem solving mindset, a decision making mindset, a critical reasoning mindset. These are all qualities that are tested in aptitude. Your critical reasoning, problem solving, decision making, how are you at these skills? This is an entrance for any MBA. Why? Because then only you can manage a business. So important things to note. Escalate, we know, is raising an issue to a higher authority. Let's go forward. Okay, I would request one volunteer and someone new this time.
Yeah. So begin by thanking the person for contacting you, then apologize for the mistake and provide a solution. Inappropriate sentences. Sorry for the not sending you the product information. Appropriate sentence would be, thank you for contacting us. I'm sorry for not sending the email. I will share the product details with you right away.
Sure. So we see the difference here. The appropriate part also gives the solution, not just apologizes. And also, before you apologize, you start on a positive note. First, you thank them for reaching out, then you apologize, because that just saves you from beginning with a negative note or a negative tone. And then finally, solution is more important than apology. Okay, let's proceed.
Yeah. So never put the blame on another person directly. So inappropriate sentence would be, I regret the error in the report made by our team member. He is new, so he does not know about this. We feel you should have checked the website beforehand. Appropriate sentence would be, I regret the inaccuracy of the report. I will rectify the errors and resend the report. Our product details have been mentioned on our website. Our service agreement requires customers to read the details before purchase.
Okay, thank you, Vinayak. So again, if we try to dive deep into these examples, what is the biggest difference? One, who made the mistake is not important for the customer. If it's not you, they don't want to know who is actually responsible for it. If you are there right now, you think it's your mistake, apologize for it. You think it's not your mistake, still apologize for the inconvenience that they are facing. They don't need to know why exactly that happened or who can they blame for it. All they need to know is what do you have that can support them in this situation. And so the concentration should be on, okay, I regret the inaccuracy, I will rectify the error. You don't say why this happened, my team member is new and so blame him. You never say that. In the same way, you don't even blame the customer directly. This example, a very similar example, we also saw in the 10 C's in the first module when we did that exercise in the courteous, because see, etiquette is courtesy and conversational. We talked about it right at the beginning of this module. There's that two of the 10 C's, which is courteousness and having a conversational tone, are related to etiquette. So we had a similar example in courtesy under the 10 C's, where this the author was trying to put the blame on the customer. If you would have checked it earlier, there would have been no need to raise this request. Even though you did not do it, I am going to give a replacement. So that sounded like you are trying to show that you are doing some favor onto the customer by giving them the solution, and again it looked like you're blaming them for being ignorant of something, which is a negative tone, which is a very preachy or a very dictating tone. Nobody likes that in business communication. They are your customers, but they are not your students. So you can't really teach them. So you can inform them, of course. If you feel that there is something that they don't know, the better way could be our product details are mentioned on the website. Our service agreement requires you to read the details. You can provide the attachment. Here are the details. So situation can change. As a payroll analyst, maybe that's not the language you will talk in. Maybe that's there are different links that you want to share, but understand the context. Context will remain the same. If there is something they didn't know, share the link with them. Tell them that this is where they can find more information about it, rather than telling them, you didn't know it. Yes, of course, if they knew it, they would not make the mistake. They didn't know it. And not everybody is supposed to know everything. You work in payroll, they don't. So, of course, they don't know a lot of things about payroll, which is fine. So, this is important for us to remember at all times. Sometimes, when we know things, we consider that they are obvious for everybody, but that's not true. And it's important to be careful.